Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before I get going with this video, I just want to take a moment to thank our friend Kaylee very much for your donation to our channel's PayPal account. Thank you, Kaylee. Some of you may remember that a while back I did a tribute video to the World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day. Now, during my research for that video, I did come across a statistic that 150 some odd million people have been affected by narcissistic abuse. Now, we are talking exclusively about the United States of America. If that had been a global number, it would have been mind-blowing enough. But that is exclusive to the United States of America. Now, of course, the American population, approximately 350 million. So we're talking almost half the population. This is a tremendously large number. But when I start researching, oh my God, it just gets worse and worse by the minute. Same statistics for Canada, the UK, Italy, Germany, France, Sweden, Finland, Holland, the Netherlands. I mean, it just goes on and on. So globally, what are we talking about here as far as narcissistic abuse victims go? What, a billion people? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of people? This is a tremendously large number. And I would absolutely state, without a question of a doubt, that it is empaths that are typically targeted. Okay, so that's fact number one. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, empaths, have been targeted and abused and incapacitated, crippled, beat to a pulp by a narcissist. Now, I think it's safe to say, and though I have no statistics or facts to back this up, this is just me speaking from personal experience and the education I've acquired regarding narcissism, that there is rarely, if ever, going to be one narc per one victim. Now, I just don't think that one empath could, over time, sustain a narcissist's need for supply. We know they cheat. We know they will harm everyone in their path. So I'm going to speculate that all narcissists have multiple victims. Now, in Trevor's case, I can identify at least 20 people that I know for certain he harmed, and harmed seriously. But if you look at more extreme cases, now, of course, we've had a female stalker here at the channel, and I have received emails from over 100 people thus far, and counting, that she has personally injured, and injured seriously. So she's a bit of an extreme case, so she has far more victims, but I think that in itself would prove, unless someone can, prove otherwise, that all narcissists have multiple victims ranging in number, and the numbers could get very, very high in some extreme cases. A huge number of victims like that could seem like a real downside, but there is an upside to this. We are finding each other. We are forming an army, boots on the ground, victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse coming together to form a resistance against this. Now, on a personal note, as an artist, I really have always tried to see beyond the extremes, beyond the black and beyond the white. And in this case, let's put the empaths on the white end of the spectrum. Let's call it the light end of the spectrum. And let's put the narcissist down on the dark end of the spectrum. Now, between those two extremes, of course, there's going to be gray space. People who are not necessarily truth tellers, way showers, earth angels, empaths. They're not necessarily highly in tune, critically thinking, enlightened people. And they are not narcissists. They are not predators. They are not actively sourcing out people to harm. In my opinion, this creates quite a bit of hopefulness for empaths. I'll tell you, in my personal experience, when I first got free from Trevor and, the veil started to lift and the whole brain fog started to clear and there was a crack in all that sort of delusional thinking, that residual thinking, that gaslighting, leaves on a victim. When I started to see more clearly, what I was actually seeing was a real epidemic of narcissism, where I absolutely decide I'm just going to stay home because there's too many of them out there. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. I mean, it was horrifying for me to even go out. Now, though I am still in many ways self-isolating as a protective measure, and not that I'm experiencing it as a protective measure, like I'm not thinking, oh shit, I better not go out there. It's not like that. I've just found a new feeling of solitude, comfort, contentment in being in my home and revisiting, hobbies. I love to sew and other things, and I actually want to do a video on that soon because I am right now kind of pushing a little bit beyond what I am comfortable with, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. So I do want to talk about that, but back to the point. The whole concept of going out was very frightening to me and didn't seem worth the risk. Not at all. I was also seeing it inside my home. Several things were happening within my personal life inside my home. For example, narcissistic abuse here at the channel. Ongoing cyber smear campaigns against me. Some of you may remember quite a ways back, in an attempt to kind of reestablish my creative vibe, I started a small online shop. Well, I've never talked about this because I really didn't want to appear unhappy about it, angry about it, frustrated about it, because I felt like I would have been providing supply in a very public way. And it was very much bothering me at the time. I've let that go and feel better about talking about it now. What had happened with that store was hacked, my account was seized, my notifications were disabled, I was locked out of the shop, the email address had been changed. The person that hacked that store had set up a series of security questions that, of course, I couldn't answer. The site had been warned that a crazy person was going to try to gain personal information about the account and try to claim it as their own. So, oh my God, I was hitting brick wall after brick wall. It was an absolute nightmare. Now, at the time, it was really bothering me, and I probably, would have appeared shaken. I don't give a shit now. It's happened. It's happened. Yes, it caused a lot of problems. I did eventually get back in. I actually had to get a lawyer to send them a letter, and they did let me back in, but then I quickly closed that account because it was extremely volatile. Now, with all that said, I mean, it's happened. It's done, but I am now working on a website. I have hired a cybersecurity team to put all kinds of security on that website. I deal with them personally, so no one will be able to hack it because they too will monitor it. So, it seemed really bad at the time, and it was pretty bad at the time. But now I've learned the lesson. I'm able to take further steps and protect my work. So in the end, it all worked out okay. As you know, of course, I was being smeared here at my channel, and smear campaigns still continue against me. I don't look at it. I don't engage in it, though many of you have screen saved those types of abuses and sent them to me. So at least I am aware of them, but I really had to turn a blind eye to all of that because it was really affecting me, and it was really affecting my judgment, and it was really causing me to think, oh my God, this is at epidemic proportions. I can't do anything. I'm not going to be able to move ahead with, restoring my career as an artist. I'm never going to have an online shop. I'm, always going to be worried about working with other people, doing collaborations. And this is what's really put off doing the ebook for me. Like, I really want to do the ebook with you guys, but I worry about sabotage. And I was finding that though I was free, I still was feeling very much imprisoned by it. Like, I was really having to rethink my desires, my plans, my hopes for the future. I was definitely leery of the possibility for a smear campaign, for, future hacking, sabotage. And I recently, and I mean quite recently since I've been here in Mexico, had to really sit down and think about how that's been impacting my life. And all of that was, of course, spurred on by the email regarding the video I did recently about self-imposed isolation. That email that I received not only got me thinking about the self-imposed isolation, it got me thinking about all the other aspects of my life where I have become fearful, I've become suspicious, and I've become reluctant to move on with my life. Now, if I'm not moving on with my life, if I'm not fulfilling my dreams or reaching my full potential, I am and will forever be a victim of narcissistic abuse. Now, another example of that is going to be the meetup for this September. I announced the meetup about 6 months ago, which immediately started a couple of channels here at YouTube, which are not narc abuse recovery channels. They are narcissists posing as victims who immediately launched yet another smear campaign against me and this meetup. Of course, this caused me to put off making plans or announcing plans. I don't want to be making plans at a venue. I mean, I don't know what these creatures are going to do. The gutter that these creatures are willing to dive into is bottomless. So all of these things started to weigh quite heavy on me. Not only did I want to prevent having a narcissist launch an attack against me, I have a responsibility to make sure that anything that's happening here at the channel is not going to, cause a narcissist to launch an attack against one of you. And then it hit me. Edmund Burke. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. Like a lightning bolt. I mean, we all know that saying, and there is so much truth in that saying. Now, though I'll say, on a personal note here, that I do feel very compelled to call out evil when I see it. I do feel very compelled to expose narcissistic abuse. But with all of that said, I will admit it hurts my feelings. I mean, smear campaign after smear campaign, the craziest of accusations against me. And guys, thank you so much for standing by me. Yeah, there have been a couple of rogue idiots that went off on a rampage in comment sections at other channels calling me names and things. But really, you guys have been great. And the unity has absolutely reinforced my desire to do the right thing, to stand up against this evil, to call it out when I see it. If I have to waste hours and hours documenting evidence as I have been, forwarding it to police as I have been, if I have to push myself beyond my comfort zone to reach my full potential, well, damn it, I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. There is zero glory in a fear-based existence, so please, everyone, repeat after me. All that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. And today I'm going to be a good man, and I am going to do what needs to be done to further my life, to push myself ahead. And I got to ask myself, what type of example will I be for my children if I allow myself to be incapacitated by fear of narcissists? Now, back to the early statistics in this video. We know that narcs are on the dark end of the scale. We know that they have multiple victims. And yes, it can appear to have reached an absolute fever pitch of narc insanity, but I'm going to speculate that there are less of them than we have been led to believe. I am going to speculate that they are a conquerable number. I am going to go as far as to say, I believe that if we do something, because you know what, in the end, doing nothing is an action anyway. So if you're going to take an action, for God's sakes, take the right one. Push yourself a little bit beyond your comfort zone. Remind yourself that you have the power and you have the strength to overcome this utter shit show of insanity. And I believe they are smaller in numbers than we've been led to believe. I believe they're a conquerable number. Rather than allow my mind to drift off for 1 second on negative thoughts, fear, intimidation, today I am going to remain grateful, really grateful for all the wonderful things I have in my life. For God's sakes, I'm healthy. I've got wonderful children. I live in paradise. And today I have nothing to fear. So guys, I love you lots. And remember, we've got more power than we sometimes give ourselves credit for. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day.